Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 15 of What If Naruto was told about the Uzumaki Clan from the beginning. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was put through hell and adopted by the Raikage over on Anime King. And enjoy that guys. And I also posted a brand new episode over on Anime King 3 of What If Naruto was exiled from the Uzumaki Clan, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy. So yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last spot we left off, Yujito was shocked when she saw Naruto, as he was the one on the bridge. She told her man to run, but they couldn't do that. The Raikage would be pissed off at them for leaving her here, seeing that she would be vital for the upcoming war, as she told Naruto to spare them. But Naruto told her no, as they came here, threatening his property. As the Uzumakis did not take threats lightly, she transformed right away, as Naruto called. The Uzumaki that flashed behind her in chains subdued her rather quickly as he couldn't really do anything because if he moved, he was sure one of these two were going to kill him behind him. As Naruto didn't move, his speed was unmatched. Haku then came down and froze everyone. As Naruto looked towards Haku with an irritated glare, but Haku advised him that if he had used that technique, he would have ended up just destroying the bridge. He was going to go a bit overboard. It seems like being the emperor and locked up, and not really exercised and pushing yourself that much, had got into pens up because that technique that he was about to use would not just blow them away but the entire bridge as well. So with that, Yujito was taken. As Naruto made his way back, Tamaria came, as she came to talk to Yoshino, but the man did not want any alliance with Konoha or the Sand, as Tamaria went to talk to Naruto. It seems like what Yoshino said was the same thing that Naruto was thinking, but she still did not fully forgive him yet for making her go through so much, thinking that he was dead, as he asked the walker. After that, Naruto made his way as he met up with Kurasaki. She was there. As she came and he drank with her, she made him drink and drink and drink as she carried him back to the hotel, where she pulled her kunai, the poison kunai, as she placed a kiss on his lips to lower his mobility, as he leaned back in the kiss as she was about to stab him right in the throat. But before she could do, his eyes snapped open as she was grabbed. She was quickly restrained by the Uzumaki behind her as she wasn't able to do anything. She was shocked as she was knocked out cold. Meanwhile, Yoshino made his way towards Kuma's Raikage, told him that he would not leave this place knowing that he had Yujito, but Yoshino simply poofed away being a clone. The same thing happened at the Hidden Stone as Yoshino met with Onki, who said that man was going to leave either, and he was going to declare war on Uzu. He was going to crush and destroy everything in his path if anything happened to his granddaughter. But Yoshino didn't seem to care really. As Kurasaki found herself locked up, she was badly bruised, as Gorin decided to, beat the living crap out of her. After all, she tried to kill the emperor, as she was placed in the same cell. But Yujito was fine as she wasn't chained either. She was completely fine. As Naruto came in and apologized to Yujito for the accommodation, he also said that he would gladly allow her to become a member of the Uzumaki Clan in the future. She was surprised by that, as Kurasaki warned him, but Naruto didn't care about her threats or her grandfather. The one thing he made clear though, her grandfather was gonna die. It was up to her if she wanted to die with him. So yeah guys, that's basically that's what I thought of you guys again. Switch across the place, check out for yourself, so let's begin this new episode. We begin this new episode at Konoha. Shikamaru sighed. How did things even get to this point? As he looked around the Hokage's office tiredly. He shouldn't have listened to his father. If he had not spoken to Naruto, he wouldn't have been placed in this position. He would have been at home, sitting or just sleeping. getting some fresh air watching the clouds, but no, here he was. As this whole thing was just bothersome, him being a diplomat for the village. He glanced towards Sasuke. He hasn't been seeing much of the Uchiha in the recent months. The Uchiha was hardly in the village. But when the people saw him, they had the tendency of treating him like he was a god or something, like he was their lord. Perhaps it was a fear that Naruto would be coming after them. He was a Jinchuriki, and they know what they had done to him. They feared that he might come back to haunt them. Their savior was the Sharingan. But after speaking to Naruto, Shikamaru didn't believe that they had to worry about the attack from him. Temari gave me a report, saying that Uza has no intention to form an alliance with the San or Konoha. They also laugh at our attempts to protect them from the stone and Kumo. Said Snazzy, what made you think you could have achieved something else when they made it apparent that they have no interest in Konoha? Logically speaking, Uza shouldn't have a problem with forming an alliance with us, despite the past, said Shikaku in a slow tone. Well, it's a past you have not forgotten, said Jiraiya, as he thought about what Temari said. Yes, but they're facing two great nations, and none of the other nations are going to help them in this war, which means they're going to fight alone. I thought given the situation they would act cautiously and accept our help. So that means Naruto believes that he can win, said Shikaku. Naruto isn't an arrogant person to believe that he can beat anyone that comes his way. But the fact that he believes that he can win a battle between his nation and two great nations is frightening, said Shikamaru. Although he wants nothing to do with Konoha, I don't think the door is closed. From what he said, there could be a future. Jiraiya looked at Shikamaru for a long moment as he asked, why in the future? Because whatever they're going to do, they want to stay away. It is likely they know that we won't agree to some of their actions, hence their refusal to ally with us. I suspect he will only open that channel once he's finished what he's doing, said Shikamaru. And what if we stand in the way, said Sasuke. They will try to remove us, said Shikamaru. While he has no intention for war with Konoha, if we seek it, he will act on it. I had those thoughts in mind when I decided Shikamaru should go to Uza, said Shikaku. We already know that Uza has both Kurasaki and Kumo Jinchuriki, and by the look of things, they're not going to give them back. Kumo and the stone are probably plotting for Uza's downfall. The only issue that remains is that they're wary of each other. Jiraiya nodded to this. Neither want to make the first move, worrying about the other taking advantage of them. Obviously, they're going to send a bigger force to Uza. They will need to be in the same page for either to make a move, but right now, if they're not, they won't. The hidden stone will probably be derailed by the hidden rain. I suppose Uza forces will lead with Kumo, Uza, and the hidden rain was in the same group. There was no doubt about that. Negative power was still something that bothered Jiraiya, because Jiraiya could not figure it out, but the both of them were S-rank shinobi easily. Not to mention their cascade other S-rank members. It is not going to be as easy as Tishikage and Raikage thought. And if the other Uzumakis are like Kushina, then the power of Jinchuriki is irrelevant. We don't have to be concerned about that, Sasuke quickly said. If things come to it, I will face Naruto. How certain are you that if he does manage to win against both the stone and the village in the clouds, that he won't come to us? Snazzy frowned upon hearing those words. There was no guarantee that things wouldn't come to that point. There is no assurance. There is just Naruto's word. We cannot take his word, but we have done everything to prepare for war. If the worst case scenario does occur, we will defend the leaf, said Snazzy. As everyone had the same problem with Naruto, no one knew what the hell he was thinking. Time skip, wave country. You have never even asked once why we brought you back and not Zabuza, said Naruto as he stood where Zabuza was buried. Yoshino had dug up Haku from his place before performing the rebirth ritual. I figured he was not needed, said Haku. Honestly, he had been saddened that his master was not brought back from the dead. There is that, said Naruto. You have not regretted your second life, I hope. Zabuza lived the way he wanted. I thought perhaps it would be excellent to have you. That aside, you were a pleasant person when we met. I spoke to Yoshino and told him that he really had to bring that person back to life. My only regret is that I couldn't have been useful to Zabuza-sama more. But right now I enjoy my current life. I have been living it for a couple of years now. Any regret would just make me miserable, said Haku with a small smile. As Naruto looked up, they were still rebuilding when he came here for that mission. There was so much that still need to be done. As he turned when he sensed someone behind him. You made it, said Naruto, as Kisame stood there with a smirk. It didn't really seem like I had a choice, said Kisame as he moved closer to the both of them. Naruto shook his head. You could have refused to come. It's not like I could have just forced you to come here. But given that you were Itachi's partner, I'm sure you shared a couple of things with him that might have contributed to your thought to coming here. Kisame grinned as he felt Same had a trembling in excitement. The sword was drooling. It was the amount of chakra the blonde had. It wasn't because he was a Jinchuriki, his chakra alone. It was just ridiculous. He had never been this close, but now Samihata was confirming it, as the sword was dripping. As he gripped Samihata, he was thinking about swinging it towards Naruto, but he held back himself. Itachi could never trust you fully. He was always cautious about everyone. I never liked that side of him. He was always probing and probing. Honestly, I'm quite happy that he's dead. But he's died on his terms, Kisame said. He always planned on dying that way. I just wish he had died by my hand. I always wanted to fight him to the death. But you respected his wish, said Naruto. So, I doubt you called me all the way out here to talk about Itachi, said Kisame. I'm curious what he said to you before he died. Surely he said something. But I called you here because you're the only one that was familiar with Obito. I know about Zetsu. You were brief about what you want to achieve with the Akatsuki, were you not? Kisame would not forget that a couple of years ago, Obito simply vanished. The other members would have not noticed because they did not know him, but Itachi had. Itachi did not give the exact detail, but he said that Obito was dead. Of course, Itachi did not know the true identity, but this person in front of him, the leader, he knew. Nagato and the Uzumaki had killed Obito. Zetsu had told him about this. Pain did not say anything about it. I was told. Kisame said seeing no reason to hide it, as the blonde likely already knew the answers. I didn't think Pain would actually manage to kill him though. It was not an easy battle. Tell me, has Zetsu appeared before you? Yes, but only to tell me that Obito was dead, said Kisame. Naruto frowned. So, it did look like he wasn't going to get any leads on that plant. It was a problem and he wanted to solve it as quickly as he could. But how could he solve it when he doesn't even have a lead? Disappointing. I thought he might have appeared. I really want him dead. Haku shook his head. You shouldn't say such things like that, he said. As he glanced towards Kisame, the man looked like he was going to launch at them at any moment notice. Naruto shrugged, it is the truth. And I can't really put it nicely. So Kisame, are you still willing to fight for the Akatsuki? Even though the one that recruited you is dead? What if I no longer plan to fight for the Akatsuki? Kisame asked. Well, we would have to negotiate your release. But it does please me knowing that you're still around. We have a war coming and your strength will be needed. Kisame did not agree to anything but the blonde was saying it like he had agreed. Perhaps he already knew and he was just merely asking. I could fight, Kisame said as he pulled out his sword. But I want to see how strong you are. That would be interesting, said Naruto. But this is not the right time. I have to go back to Uzo. Well, it's not like I'm giving you options, said Kisame as he lunged forward. His sword twisted in the air as Haku moved back. As Naruto held out his hand as his sword poofed right in his palm. Kisame brought down a massive amount of pressure as he slammed Samihata into the blade. But Naruto did not move, not even an inch. It isn't really necessary to do this, but perhaps I will indulge you one day, said Naruto, as he poofed away in smoke. Kisame turned as he saw Naruto walking away with Haku. He sighed deeply. Perhaps next time, he said. Pain will contact you, said Naruto. You should move towards the borders of Earth Country nevertheless. What does the Uzumaki even want to achieve, said Kisame. You will find out eventually. But if that is your condition for giving your best to the task at hand, ask Pain. Maybe he will tell you. Time skip at Uzo. That was real disappointed, said Naruto, as he walked into an office within his compound. The office was spacious but had no windows. There was nothing but walls upon bookshelf upon bookshelf. A large desk faced you the moment you entered the office. On the right side there was 5 single sofas surrounding a small table. On the left side there was a crimson couch. As Naruto sat down comfortably, concerned that he knew about Obito and the real mission, I figured that he would have had something. So did I. It takes us back to square one. I'll just have to play the waiting game. But there's little choice, Haku said. Indeed, get me Yoshino. I'll try to sort this desk out and other things before the day ends, as he looked towards the paperwork on the decks. You plan on staying here for the rest of the day? Yes, it is important that I do. Besides, if I don't sit here, nothing in our other nations get done. Yoshino doesn't have the authority to do it. Oh, bring me a bottle when you do return. As Haku made his way off, as Naruto pulled open the drawer and pulled out a roll of papers, as he walked over to the sofa and sat down, the paper rolled out into a map of the world. Not just the elemental nations alone, the entire world. There were certain places that were marked. Strange places that were not in the elemental nation. A moment later, Haku returned back with Yoshino. The man settled across from him as Haku placed on the bottle that he had. As he sat down as well, Cloud and Stone are making preparations to move soon, but neither want to move yet until they know the other is certain. Understandable. They still have their problems, and once they sort this out, they will probably handle themselves, said Yoshino. Indeed, said Naruto. It's a pity that those plans will not succeed. For us, a loss in the war mean extinction. We can't have any stain on our prestigious name. They cannot fail because if they fail, it meant death. So they had to win no matter what. Failure's not an option otherwise. Our nation will be raped, said Yoshino, as Naruto glanced towards the man with the amusing look. It was the way that he put the words together. That's a very vulgar way to put those words. But he did not disagree with the man. Have you considered ruling the entire world? As Haku stared at Naruto as Yoshino simply smiled. I have had such thoughts, but only with the shinobi nations. If His Majesty have such a dreams, we can fight for it. You can't be serious, right? Haku said. Yoshino shrugged. It will bring some order into this world that has no order. There will be no shinobi village that does what they want. We live long life. Once the situation is made perfect, we can make sure it goes down in history and rewrite history in the way that we want, the way that we see fit. But eventually they will grow strong enough to challenge the rule. There are not so many of us to be able to seize complete control. Not unless you put Gurren on a payroll to hunt down and murder. It will just put the Uzumaki name in bad preparations, said Yoshino. Let us get down to the real business, he said, as he focused towards the map. The Fire Nation is surrounded by a river, storm, mushroom, canyon, and sown in a line of hot steams. For to enter any of the other great nations need to go through these nations first. We already control the storm and sound, but we will extend the sound border towards the nameless countries that border the canyons. Nere is already working on the other nations and their feared lord, so that they could be absorbed into the Uzumaki Empire. And if they refuse, Haku asks, there will be no need to march into their nations. We'll just force them to do it. I doubt they will agree easily though, but we are prepared. If we move now, the Fire Nation will take notice and try to act, said Yoshino. That is why you want us to do it only after the war. As he nodded understanding. Konoha wouldn't want to be surrounded by us, but if we get Kumo on the stone, there isn't much resistance that they can hold back. If they do try though, we will simply step on their throats, said Naruto casually. I want you to be ready because we'll start talking to them now. You'll be the one to handle the negotiation while I focus on both Earth and Lightning. And the Water Lord, said Yoshino. Although we have talked with Kiri, he remains a problem that keep on trying to block our path. Naruto turned towards Haku. I will leave that up to Haku. He will decide what is best for the Water Nation and the Empire. Order Gurren to move out towards the sound and familiarize herself with her new environment and her new role. Her unit will be based there. Should I also order the agents closer on to move into the sound to be closer to her? Naruto nodded. Naoki will split from Nere into handling intelligence. Nere will handle it. Naoki can be the intermediate between Gurren and us. I will have it done, Your Majesty, said Yoshino. Have Naruhiro prepare Kurasaki. We will release her once he's done with her. What is the condition of the bridge? 90% complete. The surface itself has been completely built. Installing the rail tracks shouldn't be an issue, said Yoshino. Gato money has already been dried up and the Akatsuki money is not doing anything. If we don't change things, we will drive the wave and Uso into poverty. Naruto was silent for a moment before he spoke. We cannot build the rail tracks into the other nations now. They will simply be destroyed, and we don't have the resources. Once we have both Earth and Lightning, we will have those resources. For now, we can shelve those plans and focus on the war. But the bridge must be finished. I don't mind borrowing more money to complete it. If we must defend it, we will. Yes, Your Majesty, said Yoshino. Both of you may leave, said Naruto. I want to work alone. Time skip. Sometimes strange things just happen out of nowhere. Yes, really strange things. This world was rather strange after all. But this was not a surprise. It was strange but not surprising, as Kabuto was in front of his throne with Naoki. He knew when he called off a search, Kabuto would make an appearance soon enough, but to come in front of him, yes, a bit surprising but not that much. As he looked towards Kabuto, he could simply order Naoki to behead him right here and now. Some situation might rise after that, but it didn't matter. He didn't believe that there was anything that he could not handle. He'd been preparing, and he's prepared for anything. You played your card right, said Naruto. As Naruto knew why the man was here, he allowed himself to get caught. After all, him hiding for so long and knew there's been no signs of him, and now he just got captured. Well, I figure if I was living in hiding, likely one day I'd be killed, said Kabuto calmly. Kabuto knew the moment Orochimaru died, he became a wanted person. It wasn't his physical power that made him a threat, but his knowledge and how resourceful he was. Ozu wanted to get rid of him. He went into hiding because he wanted to avoid this mess. He wasn't even sure if he would be allowed to leave now, but he came prepared for anything. He came prepared knowing that despite what he has to offer, these people might decide that he was too big of a threat. and just kill him out of the way. I still want to kill you, said Naruto. Perhaps, since you came here, there's something that you wish to offer me. Indeed, it would be my pleasure to share my knowledge with the Empire. I could also be useful to the agenda. We don't need you to cooperate with us, Yakushi, said Naoki in a stern tone. We can just get the information from your head. There's not any secret that you can put on your brain. To stop us from invading it, Kabuto just smiled. Well, you would need a brain for anything, said Kabuto. Yes, there was ways that people could destroy their mind. Your Majesty, I should take him down now, before he tries anything. Naruto shook his head. I'm sure that Kabuto didn't come here just to die. He must have known that the best thing to do right now is to come to us. For a living. Kabuto nodded. During my time in hiding, Uzo's reach was going far and wide already. And I know, the moment I step out, I will not live for too long. I came here because I want to help, and I don't want to die yet. You think I won't kill you, said Naruto. I don't know, but I can bring my unique set of skills and gold to help you achieve your goal. Well, if I must say the Uzumaki's goal, you said something before. Our agenda. Tell me, Kabuto. What do you know about us? Kabuto smiled. Not much. I just know that you seek domination. In the near future, the world will probably be ruled by the Uzumaki Empire. I see, said Naruto, without denying or confirming anything. And what is it that you wish to offer us? You've certainly made some precautions to avoid being killed, but I can be reckless and take you down. So tell me, it depends right now on your answer, whether you live or die. Kabuto was happy that his observation was right. Naruto could be reasoned with. He was not a difficult person, nor was he stupid, far from that. He was indeed a smart person. I know that you have been observing Yamato and his Mokidan Jutsu, and also your Black Zetsu problem. Yamato is a product from Orochimaru research. I can provide it to Naruto raised his hand. We will talk about that some other day. The Mokidan part seems interesting, but I don't have time for it now. Naoki, take him to Yoshino. Once done, you will take him to Karen. Where are you going? Kiri, said Naruto. It seemed that Mizukage had some concern about her actions. Time skip. Mei had a clear conscience. She didn't want anything to do with war, after all. Her village has been through a civil war, and it was painful for all of them. She didn't want war at her doorstep anymore. At Yoshino's tower, Yoshino smiled seeing Kabuto as he was brought into his office. The only reason why he was here was because he probably swayed the Emperor to put him to work. Well, the Emperor always knew what he was doing. Kabuto Yakushi. We meet again, said Yoshino with a smile. Indeed, Kabuto said with his own smile. Though I did not think that we would meet once more. Under these circumstances, things are moving and changing every time in this world. Things don't go down a straight line, said Yoshino. I assume that you already spoken to the Emperor. I have, said Kabuto with a nod. Tell me, Naruto did not do much in terms of hands-on building Uzo and form an alliance with the other villages, but you did it. You could never say that Naruto was behind it all because you did not actually do anything. You did everything, so tell me, who is the real leader of Uzo? No, who is the real leader of the Uzumaki Empire? Yoshino looked amused. One would expect such curiosity from a spy. It is all curiosity, I assume. Of course, Kabuto said. Then I don't have to respond to that. Soon enough you'll find out who reigns supreme here, seeing that you're gonna stay here until you die. You've already been given the Uzumaki seals. I don't need to tell you how you're to behave, correct? Kabuto wasn't expecting to get all the answers so soon. Things here was really interesting. Naruto was indeed the Emperor, but there were some other forces within the Empire. Well, eventually you will find out about things. Meanwhile, at Kiri, Mei did not know that things would move so quickly. And now, there was a chance that she would get dragged into this war. Hello, Mei, he greeted. As he settled down in front of her decks, the tower was under heavy guard. If he tried to make a move, it seems like he would have to create a massacre because they would swarm him. It was truly difficult to be trusted these days. And yet he came here alone. Naruto Mei responded. I'm glad that you could make it, she said. Well, you expressed some concerns, and it would be quite irresponsible for me to just ignore them. Or, are you just not afraid of losing your only ally, she said. Fear? No. And we have not yet come to that point where we could call ourselves allies. Partners, yes, I can agree to that. You still have some concerns with us. But it would be rather dangerous to have our current agreement scrap. I imagine so. You're quick to come here. Given your talk with the Hidden Leaf, I cannot treat Konoha like a child. But please, express your concerns. I cannot be away for too long. Either Komo or the Stone could attack my village anytime now. I have to be there to defend. It wouldn't be like you did not provoke them, but their actions could not be justified either. Either way, it seems I was right. You planned all of this to get this event and this situation right now. You wanted Kuma and Stone to make the first move. I won't deny that things have been my design a bit, but I won't take credit for everything. Certain things fell into places, and we simply use it as our advantage. Regardless, I want to think that I'm not really a bad person. Not a lot of bad people think they are bad people. Evil always think they're doing something right. People sometimes become so corrupted they can't even tell between good or evil, right or wrong. I certainly hope you're not that kind of person, Your Majesty, May said in a stern tone. I'm able to define right and wrong, said Naruto. Then I hope you do the right things, she said. To whom? You might be doing something right, but to other people, it will be seen as wrong. Our standards always differ on what is wrong or right. But I did not come here for this discussion, perhaps. We will have this debate some other time. But this is part of my concern, she said. I don't want to be seen siding with people who are flawed and wrong. If you have no disregard in what is right, despite what you bring to this village, I cannot continue siding with you. Interesting, said Naruto. You are more bold and daring than what I thought, but that is fine. A pushover as a Kage would have been rather disappointing. You must stand for what you believe in. I respect that. But, she said. No but, said Naruto as he shook his head. I won't lie to you and say that Kiri is a fundamental partner in future events. Ozu has no need for this village. Our efforts have been that we don't collide, because it wouldn't have been good for any of us. Although I've been giving Konoha the cold shoulder, my message to them was the same however, but I've not gone as far as I have with you. Why, she asks. Because you're not like any other Kage. Your viewpoint is not limited within your village. You also look elsewhere, all over. Your sense of duty is not just to this village, but to the entire Shinobi world. I don't want to become an enemy to such a person. We don't agree to objectives right now, but I believe soon enough we will see eye to eye. Mei leaned back as she looked at him for a long moment. Once more, you seem overly confident you can handle Kuma and the stone. We are not as stupid as to try something without measuring first. We did the research, we studied power, defenses, everything, their structure. We are not idiots, but are acting without thinking. So they study everything, huh? They must have even studied her personality before. He chose to meet and speak with her. You need not to concern yourself with us doing anything to you. While Kiri has not factored into our plans, we don't want to make an enemy out of you. Besides, Netsuko would be in trouble. If we did something, our movements also affect those around us. We do not walk around like a tall giant, stomping down everything. I hear what you're saying, but I'm still worried, said me. You said that we organized things to go this way, but I did not say anything on it. Let me correct you now, we did nothing. I won't deny a war is not what we wanted, but we did not manipulate a single thing to get what is going on right now. No, but you did step into a position that would force other people to react, said me. Naruto smiled, but your reaction was not the same. Greed and fear take the reactions of both Kuma and the stone, but not with you. Perhaps if they had reacted like you, we would have not done anything. So I assume if we had done something as well, we'd have also been marked. Naturally, said Naruto without blinking. If your first reaction is to attack something after just seeing it, that thing will attack back. Angry that it's just being attacked because it just exists. If Kuma and the stone try to talk diplomatic to resolve the tension between your villages and theirs, would you be open for talk? Naruto stared at her for a moment before he burst out laughing as he had to calm himself. You will forgive me, but I haven't heard something such ridiculous and unrealistic in a long time. It's really good to be optimistic, but some people are just not worth the effort. Of course, if you want to try it, you can try to talk the two of them to stop and not go to war with Uzu. I will even give you a helping hand by releasing Tsukagi's granddaughter, but a warning, your talk will be effortlessly ignored, and also, you will be threatened to either help them or risk an attack on your own village. Mei looked at him that laughter. It was a man that knew that nothing would change. As she thought about her position in all of this, Kiri will continue to partner with you with food and security and other things that affect the well-being of our people, but outside of that, the door will remain closed. However, we will continue to voice our political talks of your actions. I accept, but you should know, political mean nothing outside of your borders. Kingdom, feudal lords, they play politics, but hidden villages, they play military games. I really hope that things come to a point though, where political pressure can make a village crumble and stop their efforts. Perhaps not now, but soon. Is that your object? To create a world where talks can resolve problems, she asks. He smiles, he waved his right hand as he was gone in a gust of wind. Time skip. Naruto's compound. Throne room. As he sat down, you could not sense anything. No chakra, no scent. Not even that ridiculous ability of his, Gorin could not feel anything at all. At least she could see now. It was just like the first time when she came here. As he was resting his hand, was holding up his head. He can really be a frightening person you want to be. That uncaring attitude could be thrown out the window in a second, and he can change into a cold, heartless person. As both Ren and Haku kneel in front of the man, as Naoki was there, his presence almost non-existent. The only person that has completely erased his presence was Naruto. As Naruto turned, I don't remember calling for you, Naoki. Although he was often allowed to say whatever he wanted to the Emperor, even in serious moments, Naoki knew when not to cross the line. And right now he didn't want to be choking for air. You did not, Your Majesty, he said. Then leave, said Naruto. I apologize, Your Majesty. But what brought me here? Well, a fake. What do you have to say to these two? It would may even force you to reconsider your decision. I am not reconsidering anything, and no one will force me to change the decisions I've made. Leave, Naoki. You will tell me once I'm done with these two. And you will explain to me why you decided to tell me just now. As the man bowed before he flashed away. As Naruto turned towards Haku and Gorin. As he did not speak for a moment, just looking at them. Until he finally did. Gorin, I want to thank you for the services that you have provided to the Empire. And you proudly wear our symbol in the battles that you fought against the spies of our Empire. We thank you for that. Gorin shook her head. There's no need for you to thank me. I was simply serving the opportunity that I was given. Yukimura has been given everything here, and I've been able to feel useful once more. That is more than enough. Humility has never been your biggest trait. It bothers me when you do something that is so humility. Regardless, Yoshino has already informed me about the zone, and your promotion, correct? He did so, she said. Our plan was not to have the village linked us at this time, but there is no helping the issue. We do not know what might come tomorrow. It will be useful to have emergency forces stationed somewhere, elsewhere boxed in. As Gorin knew, the Empire was spread out all over the elemental nation, and the two powerfulest ones were the Hidden Rain, that had a monster living here, and there was a monster right here as well. In terms of power, the Emperor was a literal army on his own, a one-man army. So was Nagato. You will be leaving today to take your new role in the Sound. Don't concern yourself with any other village. I will also have some members of the Akatsuki come to you to offer their protection. What of Yukimura, she asks. For the moment he will stay here, the Sound will not provide a safe environment for him. You're to continue with their operations while you're still there. Should Konoha try to form communication, you're free to do as you please, but you're not to reveal anything. And if you do anything dangerous, it should not come to this side. Stay between the borders, said Naruto in a stern tone. Understood, said Gorin. She was sad that she had to leave Yukimura behind, but she understood. If things goes bad, she could bring him into a war zone, something she did not want to do. You are the leader of the Sound, you have taken out the Sound. Dear Lord. No one from Ozu will question you on that, and no one will tell you what to do without my understanding. If there's any message from me, you know where it will come from. Gorin nodded. You may leave. And she bowed her head as she left, as Haku watched her leave before speaking. How did things go at Curious Day, he asked. Issue solved. I don't think we'll have a confrontation with them, said Naruto. The Mizukage is a person who understands things. She doesn't act rationally, like certain people. Were you that worried? Naruto asked. A little, depending on the situation. You may have to make Kira a target. As Naruto shook his head, you should know that we don't hold grudges against the villages that attack us and nearly wiped us out of existence. There is some bitterness of lost families. But if our goal was vengeance, even Kira would have been pulled into the mess. And I don't want to get it involved though. With your permission, I would like to visit. We don't know when the other nations will attack, and I would like to solve the issue with the water daimyo. I was planning on having you accompany me today. You have my permission, but you will still accompany me to the Fire Nation. What's happening? Haku asked. It appeared that Zetsu is trying to get around some members of the Akatsuki. I guess since we ruined his plans, he's gonna try to ruin ours. I knew that you'd make an appearance, but not like this. I really hope that he does not insert himself in anything. Well, with what Obito wanted, we can say whatever happened in this world will simply be trivial to him. Who are we gonna meet? The zombie brothers, said Naruto with a smile. Their immortality is quite interesting. Well, he does. Karen would love to figure out, even when chopping him up, why he cannot die. I thought Karen was no longer conducting such work, Haku said. Naruto simply shrugged, but he ignored the question. You do understand what your new role entails, correct? Yoshino was more or less my right-hand man. Within the Empire, there was no one else that is more influential than him. You will become my new right-hand man. What you say will represent what I say. When you speak, I'm the one that is speaking. Anyone that disrespects you, they're disrespecting me. Naoki appeared. That is the reason I was here, Your Majesty, he said. I figured that much. Why did you wait to tell me now? Surely. Even though Haku's new position was opposed just yesterday, surely there are some people who is not too content with his proximity to me. I did not say anything then because it was nothing that required the Majesty attention. Yoshino knew all of this before he said anything. Yoshino's role is not to fill me in on the whispers. That is your role, Naoki. But you're probably correct about the last part. Tell me, what are the whispers? They are more like voices of disapproval than Naoki. The council sat late last night. Yoshino was summoned, and so was I. Those immortal geezers were complaining why a non-Uzumaki is taking on such a role. There is also some discontent with Goren's position as well as mine, said Naruto. What else? Our financial situation. Naruto frowned upon hearing that. And war is still going to cost us. Quite honestly, we are going into the negatives. But we can recover the cost once it is all finished. Schedule a meeting with them. I will address them. For when? In 3 days, said Naruto. Goren should already arrive in the town of Haku. Should be in Kirin. Handling his business then. I will get it done. Should I accompany you? No, just mind your own business. And stop being an annoyance. You should also stop eavesdropping on my conversations. If you're going to do it, do not let me notice you. And don't let me see you, and don't make it obvious that you are doing it. If I catch you, you will go back to training. That isn't fair, he said. How can I completely disappear from your senses? I chose you, Anne, Neri, because of your stealth skills. You're supposed to be better than me in that department. No one should be able to get behind me. But at least you should have a fraction of a second before I can react. If you don't have that, you're not worthy of being my guard. And I'll stick with Haku. Wouldn't that be a bit extreme? You have never complained about your work before. I always assumed that we did everything perfectly. Make sure that Goren has everything, and that those people are present. For the council meeting, I won't return until the day of the meeting. As Naoki wondered where he was going. As a stone and Kumon put big bounties on his head, even the worthless shinobis were going to attack him. Was he really safe with just Haku? The ice shinobi was strong. Haku. Could he do the massacre for Naruto? Naoki wouldn't even blink. He would just slaughter. But Haku was different. But it was the Emperor. He knew what he was doing. And it was like he couldn't protect himself. Please be careful and don't do anything reckless, he ended up saying. Are you going to see Temari? That is none of your business, said Naruto. As your guard, it is my business to know your whereabouts. If something happened to you, my head will be the one to roll, said Naoki in an even tone. Your job is what I say it is, said Naruto. Go. Time skip. 5 minutes later. Kurasaki snored as Naruto stood in front of the bars of this prison that seemed to be kept away from the world entirely. It didn't matter if she had tried to kill him. He had given her enough reason to kill him, and she would never forgive him. The anger within her to strangle him, make her body tremble. There he was standing there like he owned everything, like he ruled this world. Your look only amuses me, said Naruto. I have been subjugated for contempt through my entire life. The look you give me now doesn't make me flinch. It is actually pitiful that you have been reduced to this. As she knew that his villagers blamed him for what happened to Kyubey, as she laughed at that. Can't say you don't deserve it. Well, I can't say you don't deserve the pain that Goren has made you suffer through, said Naruto. Oh, when you look at it, we both deserve what has fallen upon us, he said. I swear, I'll make you pay for this, she said. While we have both suffered, said Naruto, ignoring her words. I stand out here and you're inside there, and I can make you suffer more pain at my mercy. She gritted her teeth. She didn't want anymore, her body hurts. What do you want, she said. I came to free you, he said to her. Your grandfather has declared war on us, and threatened to destroy us if we don't release you. Of course we can hold you as a hostage. And, well, we're not that cruel. Yeah, right, she said. I told you my grandfather would come for me anyway. As Naruto unlocked the cell, she got up with a smile. She really believed that he was threatened or being pressured by her grandfather. That is why she was being released. How sad. He really just wanted to slam the cell shut and burst in laughter to see her hopeless look. But he was not that cruel, was he? As she stopped in front of him, I would be sure to return the... Before she could finish her sentence, her throat was grabbed. She tried to force him to release her, but the grip was so tight. And her breath, she couldn't breathe. As he lifted her up with one hand, she started to flap around. After what seemed like eternity as her face turned blue, she was dropped to the ground. as she gasped for her ear, her hands on her throat. I'm not that merciful, and you're not going back because we fear your grandfather. Haven't I told you? For trying to come after my life, your grandfather will die for your sin. There's a consequence for every action that you take. But just because we intend to punish your grandfather, doesn't mean if you do step out of line, you won't be harmed. I'm just releasing you so you can see your grandfather die. And you won't be able to do anything because until I decide otherwise, you won't be able to use your chakra. She was afraid. She didn't want to launch at him because she was afraid of being choked out like that once again. As Naruto snapped his finger, as Nia reappeared, break both her legs and drop her off in front of her gate. She tensed at that. As Naruto looked down and smiled, I'm just messing with you. Or am I? As Neri grabbed her and moved away. Your silence is curious, said Naruto. Well, at least Kurasaki was gone. That woman just grumbled and grumbled. But she was a bit angry that she wasn't being released. It doesn't matter what I say, it's not gonna change anything. You underestimate yourself, said Naruto. I'm sorry, I won't be releasing you. I cannot give Kumo any power than he already has. Things will become troublesome for us, he said, with a shake of his head. I have no illusion that you'll release me, she said to him. You don't have to be so hopeless, no one's gonna hurt you. And eventually, you'll be able to leave this place. Apparently, my stay hasn't been that unpleasant, except for where I'm put to sleep. I will come back to you on that one. A better place to stay, but you will not leave this village. Not anytime soon, my hope is that you won't leave. But if you do want to, you will leave soon. Just not now, because there's war. And what if Kumo will get into the island, she asked him. Not possible, he said. Very soon they will be sitting down to form a truce, so they can attack us. I'll keep you updated, said Naruto. You can't believe that everything will go your way, and that you'll win this war. I do believe that though. Not the part of everything going my way, but win this war. A and Onki will be dead in the end, and the Uzumaki Empire will usher the Shinobi world into a new form of living. Time skip. Fire Country. Kakazu had lived too long to be a puppet for someone game, and he don't intend on dying anytime soon. He will surely stay with this godforsaken partner of his though. The cursed Hidan could not shut his mouth, but at least he could not die. The internal battles of the Akatsuki didn't mean anything to him. He didn't care for them. It wasn't the agenda of the group that made him follow them, it was a protection. Zetsu could try to poach him to do other things, but Kakazu was not stupid. The fact that Zetsu was coming behind Pain meant that he could not fight the leader. He was weak. It would be illogical for him to follow such a weak creature. A rock hit him right in the forehead. As Kakazu looked towards his partner, he had been ignoring him so far. For a moment he was ignoring about being hit by a rock, but he calmed himself. Hey! You listening to me? Said Hidan. What? And if you hit me with a rock again, I'll kill you. Hidan grabbed his sight. Why don't we have a go at it? And let's see who will kill who. Always ready to go with someone one day. Kakazu was going to tear his head off and sell it to someone, and sell his body parts as well, far from each other. It would be rather unfortunate if you two kill each other, said Naruto as he appeared, with Haku by his side. Kakazu was sitting on a step. It seems like a battle had occurred here, as Hidan stood up. And who the hell are you? I heard that you had a foul mouth, as Hidan cursed before Naruto could finish. I didn't think it was like this though. Does your god permit such a foul rat to be his worshipper? What do you know about Jashin-sama? Nothing really. You two are still wearing the Akatsuki clothing, which is good, said Naruto. I thought Zetsu would have poisoned you into betraying the organization. And if we had done so? Naruto smiled. Isn't it obvious, he said. Both of you have large bounties on your head. I would have been forced to take off your heads and turn them in for the bounties. It would have been rather ironic given that this has been your job for a long time, isn't it? Kakazu knew who this was, Hidan might not know. Because of his ignorance, but Kakazu knew who exactly this person was. You also have a bounty on your head, a very big one. If I capture you, we can make a killing. Indeed, I'm quite certain that Oniki would even give you a bonus for your services. But you speak like you're a part of the Akatsuki, no. If what Zetsu said was true, you have connection with Pain, said Kakazu. I'm not part of the Akatsuki, but I do know the man that you call Pain, said Naruto. I actually came here on his behalf. We're doing some cleaning up the house. We really don't want people backstabbing us. We're going to war, and we really need to know where you people stand. We are still members of the Akatsuki, said Kakazu. I want to believe that, said Naruto. But he then launched towards Hidan, a sword appeared in his hand. Hidan blocked it with his sight. He tried to push the blonde away, but he realized the blonde was not budging. That's impressive, said Naruto. Impressive? Are you mocking me? Hidan said. I was expressing my delight in your physical power and your instinct, said Naruto, as he jumped backwards slightly. Hidan then dashed forward and swung towards Naruto's left. As Naruto stepped to his side as he watched it pass by him, Before he straightened up, he then twisted and slashed his blade across Hidan's chest, but the man brought to his side and blocked it. Naruto took in a small breath. He then released massive wind bullets from his mouth. Hidan was blown straight up in mid-air as Naruto flashed above him and slammed his feet into his chest. A sonic boom as a force dropped into Hidan. Hidan slammed into the ground with such ferocity. A large crater was created as Naruto stood on top of his chest. That hurt you, little shit, Hidan cursed, as Naruto jumped back as Haku landed beside him. As Naruto looked up, finally he said, as he looked up towards the thing standing up there. Don't look away from me, Hidan said as he swung his side towards Naruto. Naruto caught his hand in the wind and grabbed Hidan's sight, as he brought his other fist around and slammed it into Hidan's gut. Saliva poured from his mouth as he placed 2 fingers on Hidan's chest. Marks spread over his body and restrained him. Close your eyes and count from 1 to 100. The seal should be gone by then. For now, you are no longer interested, said Naruto, as he turned his attention towards Zetsu. Kakazu was certain that this man had no intention to seriously fight Hidan. Perhaps he just wanted to test his immortality. Kakazu did not get up or look behind him. I figured that you'd show up if I did things this way, said Black Zetsu, as he did not step out of the shadows. Well, of course, if you were serious, you could have chosen better candidates, said Naruto. I wasn't expecting to see you though. I thought I would just do my business and be on my way. I can't appear in Uzu. It's a bit dangerous, said Black Zetsu. I really had no intention of turning these two against Nagato. I just wanted to draw you out and let you know I'm able to ruin things for you. I could have let this secret out to Oniki a long time ago, and Konoha, but I did not do that because I don't want your plans to fail. I want you to succeed, and when you do, Madara will come back and destroy everything. Everything you do will be destroyed. After saying those words, Zetsu disappeared really quickly. Well, said Naruto after he was gone, at least I won't have to worry about him interfering in my plans. Expressed a bit of concern for this, he knows too much, and he's still planning on reviving Madara, Haku said. The only way that can happen is through Nagato. Zetsu doesn't have the capability of defeating Nagato. But you're right, it won't be good to discard things. By Madara, does he mean the legendary Madara? The same man that can stand toe to toe with the first Hokage. I forget, you once fought with Hoshirama. Yes, he does mean that infamous Madara. I have a message from Bane, please, move towards the Sound Country. Your next assignment shall come from there. There's a war coming, and you will play a role. Can we still collect bounty? Of course, said Naruto with a smile. Haku, you can go to Kira now. I'll depart to the wing. You are not going to cause any trouble, are you? You must be annoyed that you did not finish your sparring session with Hidan-san, Haku said. Naruto waved a hand, as he simply walked off. As Kakazu watched him leave. Madara Uchiha, huh? Well, things seems like it's going to be interesting very soon. Yet Naruto didn't seem bothered by it one bit. Black Zetsu was afraid Kakazu saw that. He did not step close, he was afraid. Well, could explain the large bounties on his head. Well, this didn't involve Kakazu, so he would just do his job and continue to collect his bounties, and see how everything plays out. But guys, the end tips are right here. If you want to see the next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications to be posted. And go ahead and check out the brand new episode over on Making 2 of What If Naruto was put through hell and adopted by the Raikage, and enjoy that, guys. And also, I posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto was exiled from the Uzumaki Clan, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy, guys. And yeah, without further ado, I'm on for now. See you guys very soon. Peace out.